Okay, we're going to get back here with Sheridan Buck on the line. So much appreciate her joining us. Sheridan, thanks so much for hanging out with us after the break.
Am I back on?
You're back on. I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Okay. You sent me something here on a. Is this for now? The stuff you just sent me on the text. Okay, it's for later.
No, this was. Yeah, these were just the photos of the Austin airport. Just how empty they were.
Oh my gosh, you're right. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, it is. It's like no kidding. Well, I saw a photo that I couldn't believe at one point because I've been there numerous times. I couldn't believe I saw a picture of Vegas at some point. It was just deserted. The Vegas Strip was just deserted. Now that's I mean, how many billions of dollars a day is lost on that?
That's right.
That's well, we'll see. We'll see what happens after all this because we're not going to get out of this unscathed. I mean, I think there's still going to be some sort of a boomerang effect. I mean, there's 2 restaurants here in Kalispell that aren't even open and back up again. I mean,
that's happening in Great Falls. So there's people who are not open, and it's eye-opening to me.
It is. It is indeed. Okay, so I'm going to ask you some last part of the broadcast here. I'm going to hit you with a couple of the questions here that I think that sometimes there are single topic issues that people, look to when they make the vote. They're third rail issues, but I'm going to ask you about them anyway. We've got conservatives being censored all across the country. This program certainly is no exception. There's other conservative outlets that are taking big hits, getting their channels taken down. Social media, it's very bad in social media. How important is Sheridan to you, the First Amendment and the importance of a First Amendment in a free society? How important is that for us to maintain that and have that to be strong and fair and equitable for everyone?
Absolutely, it's important. Other countries around the world can't match us because of our First and Second Amendment. And if we don't have that, what do we have? And, people die from leaving other countries just to get to the shores of our land. And I think Americans have been apathetic and they don't appreciate it until now. And I think some of America is waking up to this. And, it's very important to me. When you've got a society who's keeping open bars and marijuana shops and strip clubs with lap dances and you name it, but they're shutting down churches and they're, arresting these ministers who have that right, and the congregation has a right to be there. And I heard your... I don't know if it was your show, who it was, maybe it was Facebook, where the folks showed up at yesterday, I think, in Helena in front of the Capitol, and I think it was Tim Ravendell wanted to go in and talk to Bullock, and he wasn't allowed in the Capitol. We got a problem.
Oh, we do. Tim's been on my show numerous times, as a matter of fact, and I may reach out to Tim and get the story behind that. I'm sure he probably published something about it. Second Amendment. You see in Virginia, they're trying to take guns out of the law-abiding citizens' hands. Your thoughts on the Second Amendment? Do we need it for hunting only? Is there a deeper purpose for it? What's your thoughts on that?
If we don't have the Second Amendment, it protects all the other ones, right? One of my campaigns, I went to a door. Boy, what an eye-opener it was. This teenage kid, he jumped out of his truck. I was knocking on his home, the door, and he goes, you're the lady on the billboard, you're the one running for office. I said, yeah. And he said, he started talking to me about the campaign, and I said, well, what do you think about that? And he looked me straight in the eye, and this was a 17-year-old, and he said, if we don't have the Second Amendment, forget the rest. And he was absolutely right. No, it's not just about hunting. And you've got your attorneys and your legalese out there who want to say, yeah, it was meant to do this. No. When you take the guns away, you've got the people. I mean, go back to the days when all of this happened. Go back to the Deep South. Your black Americans at that time and day were not allowed to have guns. Why? They would rise up against the slave owners, and they knew it. And it goes on a whole lot of different levels there. We have to have guns for protection because of the law enforcement. They'll tell you straight up, they're not going to get there first. You're the first line of defense, period.
No, when seconds count, they're minutes away. That's for sure. Okay, so we have Dr. Al had a bill last session for called the Baby Born Alive Act, which allowed doctors to be able to, if a baby survived an abortion, were able to bring the baby back to, life-saving procedures, whatever it would take to get the baby viable again. Do you believe the right to life extends does the protection of the state, because you can't murder somebody, you just can't walk up and murder somebody. Should that same protection extend to the child in the womb when it comes to protection against being murdered?
Absolutely. If we can't protect our most vulnerable, what does that say about our society? This is kind of interesting that I'm doing politics now because in my early 20s, I remember looking at my mom. I can so vividly remember this, having a conversation in our kitchen. And this was the whole Roe v. Wade, all of this other stuff going on. And I looked at her and said, Mom, how did that ever happen? How did they let that happen? And she looked at me, and this is how our society has changed. She said, we never dreamed they wouldn't do the right thing. And I turned around and looked at her and said, not on my watch. And of course, you fast forward another 30 years, here I am, and we're still dealing with it. Hopefully, on my watch and other Americans across this nation, we're going to fix this, and we're going to make it right. And you've got, let's take it back to the right now in this day and time, when you've got states who are saying abortion clinics are essential. Are you kidding me? Now, I understand somebody who's got a ectopic pregnancy. That's a completely different story. But when you are going in there to do an elective abortion, you got a real problem. And hopefully there's enough Americans right now in this election who are going to stand up, hold the line, and say, stop it.
Well, Planned Parenthood, from what I understand, got $80 million from the stimulus money, and they turned around and donated $45 million to the Democratic National Committee.
There you go. Follow the money, right?
Indeed. Sheridan, we're just coming to the end of the broadcast here. Before we go, I would like you to let us know why, speaking to those people out there that have those absentee ballots perhaps on their kitchen table right now, getting ready to send them out, why should they check your name, and why should they vote for Sheridan Buck for HD 26 as opposed to your opponents?
Yeah. The district that I am running in has got a lot of National Guard. They're either active duty or retired, or Malmstrom Air Force Base. And what a better voice than mine to stand for them. My husband was active duty, Air Force. He was a fighter pilot. All three of my kids serve. I've got my daughter is a P-8 naval aviator. I've got a son in the Naval Reserves, another one in the Army military intel, and I understand the needs and the wants, and I also understand the community. And a lot of people, when you talk to them in that fashion, they don't get it. And let me tell you about my opponents. One of them, who was a representative, if you go to Legistats, the scoring card, he had over 200 votes against the Republicans where he sided with the Democrats. And one of them, he actually voted for Sharia law in the state of Montana. That right there threw the gauntlet down on the ground for me. And why would a military, strong base community want that guy representing them in Helena? The other guy on the ticket, good man, good friend, we're buddies, we're pals. I just feel like I'm the person, though, that can stand in, and I'm not afraid to take the hits, and I'm not afraid to speak up. When I see a rat, I call it a rat, and I call it how I see it, and people don't know what to do with that sometimes, but I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to stand up and do what's right.
Yeah, we need a big dose of rat poison in Helena and other places for sure. Okay, Sheridan, go ahead and give us your websites where people can find out more about you, any emails, any phone numbers, any
Sure.
Facebook page, things like that. You have the floor.
Okay, so I have a website, and I really strongly encourage everybody to go there. It's www.sheridan, SHERID, as in dog, A-N, Sheridan, Buck, BUCK.com. I also have Gmail, Sheridan Buck 1, the number 1. And you can call me, 406-836-9848. And I really strongly encourage you to look at what's on the table. And I do need your vote. And I truly believe I am the voice and that person who will stand for you and Helena. And Mr. Down there, I want to say thank you to you for what you're doing, because the media out there, boy, that's another whole nother storyline that you need to cover one day. Who owns them and what they're not revealing. And you're the only one who's really giving candidates a chance to reveal who they are.
Well, it's been my pleasure. I have children that have to grow up, and we have to leave a legacy for them behind. So that's the reason I do this. It's certainly not for the money. Well, Sheridan, thanks so much for being here on the broadcast. We really appreciate it, and we wish you well in your upcoming primary. And we'll see. Maybe we'll have you. We'll see what happens on the 2nd. Maybe we'll have you back again on the way to the big run. Very good. Sheridan Buck, thanks so much for joining us today. We look forward to speaking to you next time.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You're welcome. You too. Bye now.